it's your recommendations. It's what people think about you. After that, it's your essays. And after that, it's your SATs. All right? And I tell you that because I don't want you to go into a testing situation and be like, if I just nail this today, I'm going to be great. Meanwhile, everything else, you've kind of mailed it in, in the classroom a little bit for 4 years. You're not really that good of a leader at your high school. Character's a little bit iffy. Then that's going to show up in your recommendations. And then finally, you mail in the essay at the end. And then you've only got one good thing, you nailed the testing, okay? The important thing is to be, a holistic candidate. You want to be great at everything. So be a good citizen at their high school, so that's going to be something that shows up in your recommendations, okay? With respect to your recommendations, my advice, at Yale University, you have to be academic recommenders. So you can't pick your lacrosse coach who thinks you have a great step-down shot, but can't speak to how, good of a student you were or what a leader you were around school. So, in as much that we want guys, we're going to need guys with academic recommenders. What we tell our guys, make sure you get recommendations from people that like you. Okay, that's going to go a long way. It sounds silly, but it's something you want to double check. A lot of recommenders are getting a lot of recommendation requests. All right. Go in there early, and don't pester them. But you want to make sure that they are on top of it. Okay. If you go in there on October 20th and say I need this by November 1st, you're going to get a slap together recommendation that might not get you in a lot of places. Okay. Be sensitive to the fact that a lot of people are asking them for this. Okay. If you found your dream school, get that in a minute. If you find your dream school, make sure that's known. It's a good thing to mention that to your teachers going into your senior year as well. So it's, hey, I'm really interested in going to this college, and I have to do well in this school, well in this class. All right? That'll help. That'll go a long way. You're going to these showcases, okay? We as college coaches view this whole thing. We show up, we want to see kids that we want to coach. Okay, and there could be a lot of things. We want to see somebody who's huge, faster than everyone else, stronger than everyone else, can shoot better than everyone else, and can defend better than everyone else. And all that's great. But I've been doing this for 30-something years. I have yet to see that player. I have yet to find that player. And I coach at Yale University, and we have our pick of a lot of guys. There are imperfections all over a kid's grading sheet as far as I'm concerned. Almost every kid. Okay? One thing that always sticks out to me is how hard you play. And that's a lot to ask, okay, of a kid to be on at all times, at every event, when it's 100 degrees every single time, and he's got to go out there again. All right? But if we can see a kid straining through the effort, even though he's only got a little left in the tank, that'll go a long way. All right? You want to play hard as much as possible, as many times as possible, okay? And my advice is that a coach is always watching, always. All right? I see a kid come here, and if I see him picking up trash on the sidelines, that makes an impression. Okay? That makes a huge impression. We want to see that, okay, whenever we're at a showcase. The kids that are leaders like that. That will go a long way. See, because they're, wow, that makes that's a good kid. All right? We all talk to one another. All right? A lot of NESCAC coaches here. These NESCAC coaches talk to me. Once we're done picking who we want, okay, they always talk to me. Hey, have you ever seen this kid? Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I like him too. You know what? He's a pretty high character kid. Probably won't go wrong. Even if he's not as good as you think he is, you probably won't go wrong taking that kid. All right? You're going to visit schools. You're going to look at schools, okay? Everyone ever heard of this kind of click moment? Somebody goes to college, like I just got on campus and something clicked. Everyone heard that? We're all searching for that. Is that right? Okay. I believe that it's not a mystical thing. Okay. I don't think that actually exists. My advice to you is to find people that have gone through the process at that university, that play lacrosse, if that's what you want to do. All right. That have interests that you have. Okay. and ask them what their process was like. That is how you get the click moment. You're going to talk to coaches, okay? Coaches are going to say, the food's great, classes are great, you're going to get a job, lacrosse is great, I'm a great coach, it's going to be awesome. There is no coach that has that perspective accurately. I coach at Yale University. I don't eat the food here. I sure as heck don't take classes here, all right? I don't get coached by me. I don't socialize here. I don't walk around campus. I don't do any of that stuff. I didn't choose Yale. I never had that opportunity, okay? I don't live in New Haven around the clock. I work here. If you're looking at Yale University, I'm the last person you should be talking to about this, all right? My job is to sell you on this place. You don't want to listen to me. You want to buy the car from the guy who had the car, is not trying to sell it to you. Here's what's wrong with the car. Here's what you shouldn't. Here's why you shouldn't buy the car. Okay? Those guys are my players. All right? And not just my players, the players at Middlebury, in Conn College, and Tufts, and Hamilton, all the schools that you're looking at. You have access to a young man or a young woman that attends that college and went through that process. Why did you go through the process there? What did you like about the place? Now that you're there, do you still like it? Is it what you expected? All right. There's your Yelp review. Was it what you thought it would be when you went through it? And what you'll find if you keep asking these questions over time, what you'll find is you'll find out more about yourself and what you really want. You're going to be hopefully make a list, pros and cons, all that, and keep notes all the way through. And you'll be like, after a while, you'll talk to a few people, and you'll be like, you know what? I don't want to go to school in a city. I didn't even realize that a month ago. But I've asked so many questions of so many people that seem like me, that seem to like this more than that. Maybe I don't want to be in this environment. Maybe I want to be somewhere else. Maybe I want to be out west. Maybe I want to be up north where it's cold, or down south where it's warm. Okay, the more you ask questions of people that have gone through the process and now have evidence on whether or not they were right, the more you'll understand about what you really want. And more than anything else, you got to be open to possibly pivoting, right? You want to play lacrosse. You love lacrosse, I'm sure, right? Everybody that's ever watched Rocky thinks they want to box when they get out of the movie. Everyone. And they're all wrong. All right, the underbelly of this game, this college lacrosse, it's difficult. It's very difficult. You got to lift a lot. You got to practice a lot. You got to practice on your own when you're not with your team. You got to be okay with getting yelled at, college coaches. A lot of them yell. All right? It's a lot more intense. It's every good player that you've played against in high school is collected in this kind of cauldron of greater players, and you've got to make sure that you want to be part of that, all right, and be part of the pressure of that. Not everyone is. Not everyone is, and that's okay. Once again, this is when you're going to find out more about yourself. And be like, you know what, maybe lacrosse, maybe I'm more of a club lacrosse guy, maybe I'm the highest level. I, for one, was an okay Division III player, but I was obsessed with the game, and that's why I coach. I found that out about myself in college. I couldn't let it go. So you're going to find out a lot about yourself in the coming year or two, all right? It's going to help you make sure that when you look back on your decision, like, this is exactly the right decision for me. This was it. I nailed it. You don't want to nail it. You don't want to get to a college and regret it. Now you got to transfer. That's no fun. That's not good for anybody. Okay. If you're getting recruited by the coach, you can suggest to that coach, I would like to speak to one of your players if that's all right, if that's okay with you. You might not. We love that when kids want to do that. I think that's great. And parents to parents as well. If you get deep in the recruiting process, parents have their own experiences that are a little different than their student athletes. It's a parallel path, but it's different. All right? You may, young player might love the process. The parents might not. And maybe you want to talk to the parents of that student athlete. Coaches might not be open to that either. We like that. Does that help? I mean,
yes, sir.
Okay. Really, anyone at the With respect to lacrosse, it's probably got to be one of those players. With respect to the recruiting process, it could be, doesn't have to be on that specific team, could be a different athlete. With respect to the college, be someone at the college. Might be a little bit of legwork, but I think you could probably find somebody. Yes.
Well, it's parent from Detroit, so I appreciate the car analogy. Once you purchase the car, since you're selling,
Yep.
how much maintenance is required on that car? What are you expecting from your players after they sign on to Yale?
For us?
Yeah.
Okay, so Yale University, we're a little.
How many hours a week?
Yeah.
What's the practice schedule, that type of thing?
We can only practice. We practice 20 hours a week in the spring. We practice 3 days a week in the fall. We lift 3 days a week in the fall as well. Okay, one of those days we have to overlap. We have to give them 49 days off through the course of the actual calendar academic year, I should say. The balance of that between all that lifting and all that spring practice and all that, these guys are working on the game on their own, either captains practicing or individual instruction. Ridiculous amount of times. So, with respect to our program, the lifting is a huge challenge, and the practice time is a huge challenge that we give them. And then the kids that we get love the captain's practice, love to shoot on their own, they love to practice on their own. So we make sure that that's full disclosure with our guys. Now, the NESCAC schools have no fall ball, have no organized fall ball, but I just about guarantee all those kids captain's practice all fall. They wouldn't be at the high level lacrosse if they weren't. So
Is that 30, 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week? What do you think they put at?
Probably 20 at least. Probably 20, I would say. Maybe between, travel time to the field and shower and all that, the time that you can't be in the library, probably 20 hours, I would say. Or at least on their own. Well, that's what we are in season, so I'm assuming it'd probably be parallel to the spring, actually fall.
Do you have a wide range of majors on your team?
We do, yeah. That's probably another something you want to know. You want to know what the majors on the team, what's available to them. You might want to go pre-med, and the lacrosse coach might think that that's not something that's doable. I would hope that's not the case, but there are situations where that does happen. We had a kid a number of years ago. He's the only student athlete to graduate with an architecture major and finish his lacrosse career because it was such a high washout rate for both of them. So, great kid. I'd like to say I helped him with his homework, but I actually didn't. Yeah.
How similar is the pre-read process to Division III and Ivy League?
Our pre-read process is July 1st. We can get a look at a student athlete's transcript, SATs, school profile, and senior courses, and then project whether or not we're able to still recruit them. I'm not sure. We don't do A, B, and C. We don't do banding. That's the NESCAC thing. It'd be irresponsible of me to say what that's like. At the same time, I will say that after doing this a long time, and I know, talking to a lot of NESCAC coaches, they have been doing this a long time at their colleges. You get a sense for what they're going to say during the pre-read. You know what I mean? I can't remember the last time I dropped a transcript in front of my liaison and was totally shocked with what she said. So I think that I'm assuming the NESCAC coaches have similar experience, but I don't know.
Some of my friends went through the process recently. It took especially with the NESCAC, it took a really, really long time. Is that different for Ivy League? Is it sooner?
We're still waiting on a few right now. So
okay.
It's a lot of hurry up and wait. Get me your transcript. Hurry, and wait. Make sure your application's in. 2 months later, you find out. So it's not. It's very stressful, and it's not. I'd like to say that it's changed. It hasn't. It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Thank you.
We have not had a lot of walk-ons because of COVID, but our COVID graduation will be next year, so we're gonna need walk-ons after that. That gets harder and harder for that to happen. Some of the best players we've ever had are walk-ons, honestly. So.
What's the coach's perspective on reclasses?
I don't know how I feel about it. It's case by case, I guess. We have kids that'll call us and say, hey, if I reclass, will you consider me? And it's like, I don't want to be part of that process. You know, I think there's certain regions that just, they reclass right out of the chute, and you know, some of those kids are seniors in high school, and you know, they voted for Clinton in the last election. I think with boys, you get a certain level where once you get past everyone's out of puberty, then it doesn't matter. You got the development, you know what I mean? But there are certain guys in that range that probably need a little bit more development. And academic development, that's always a good thing. So that's to me, that's different than the athletic development. So if kids need academic development, reclass it up. Does that answer your question, or did I dodge that effectively?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Like looking at a player, how important to you are like volunteer hours and like clubs, not just, you know, school and sport?
That's more for admissions, but we want to make sure that somebody's going to contribute to their community and not just be a lacrosse guy. Provided a kid shows a little bit of altruistic nature, that's probably all we need. We don't need him, you know, doing everything and you know, hurting his grades or anything else. So, but just a little bit is important. Certainly better than nothing. Nothing is a red flag. That's not good. So, well, the entire class has to be averaged. So, yeah, the academic index, I probably should have touched on that. That's something we have to deal with. It's from 0 to 240. 0 is non-existent, and 240 is perfect SATs. Used to be SAT 2s. I'm not sure if it's still part of the calculation. And perfect grades. So you get 80 points for each part, and that adds up to 240. If you're at 240, that's all well and good. That means you can get a 160 to average 200, I guess. 160 is below the floor. We have to average 220, I think, or 222, something seemingly impossible every year. You know, and that's part of it. But the AI for us, the way we do it, I can't go to a mission and say, hey, it's 234. Why can't he get in? The number is not, and it doesn't give me any latitude in the process at all. The number is only a final kind of watchdog at the end. The admissions honestly doesn't even look at it. I'm required to hit the number or above, and they can accept anywhere in and throughout as long as my list is what it is. So it's kind of on me, not on them. So they don't care if the kids, to be perfectly honest, Matt Brandow was our best player last year, first team All-American tackler. One of the best players that had all-time leading scorer in the Ivy League and Yale University. He was the highest rated. He had a 238 AI in that class. And admissions made him interview. And they didn't make anybody else in the class interview. So, and he's a great kid. It's not like he's shady or anything like that, but maybe he's just too perfect. I don't know. A little too hard to believe. So, you know, admissions doesn't care about the number. They really don't. They operate so far above it, it just never come to play, at least for us. Other schools might be able to say, yeah, you're 187. You got another guy. We're good. So that's just us. I will tell horror stories right up until they get the acceptance letter. And to that point, horror stories after. Like, grades have to continue after you get in. It's not like, hey, we're in, now we can put our feet up. If anything else, that's when the work has to be continued. You have to continue the grades. So